What happens when we die? Does all experience end forever, or do we somehow live on? Over half of all humanity believes that death is not the true end of life, that beyond this mysterious threshold, something continues. The standard view among secular academics, however, is that these beliefs are simply wishful thinking, a psychological byproduct of our fear of death and our difficulty in comprehending the ultimate end of experience. I, too, struggle to imagine how this vast universe could be structured in a way that preserves all minds at the point of death, presumably, for eternity. Personally, I'm not religious, yet I don't believe we can simply dismiss the possibility of survival. Despite the many discoveries of modern science, reality remains an unfathomably mysterious place. Consider, for instance, that respected philosophers and thinkers believe there is a significant possibility that our entire reality is a simulation crafted by an advanced civilization with goals beyond our comprehension. If this is the case, all bets are off regarding what we might experience after death. Many people cite near-death experiences, NDEs, accounts of apparent reincarnation, and other paranormal reports as potential evidence of survival. I've read numerous cases that strike me as deeply anomalous. In fact, I studied psychology at one of the few universities in the world with a parapsychology department, the University of Northampton in the UK. Reading about these strange phenomena was part of my undergraduate syllabus. While I'm ultimately not convinced by these cases, I also don't reject the possibility of life after death. In fact, I've become convinced that consciousness does survive death. But it wasn't the paranormal that convinced me. It was a philosophical argument I encountered much later, after graduating in philosophy. This argument, which we'll explore today, appears to show that consciousness is immortal, that death, as an actual end to conscious experience, is an epistemic illusion, that after death, we shouldn't expect oblivion, but rather an enduring sense of always having existed, manifested, perhaps, in the form of other conscious beings. This idea originates with the philosopher Thomas Clarke and can be found in his essay, Death, Nothingness and Subjectivity. It could be seen as a form of impersonal reincarnation, and in my view, it's the very least we should expect after death. Despite its seemingly bold conclusion, this argument doesn't rely on any exotic or mystical view of consciousness. As we'll see, it would hold even if we lived in a purely physical universe, governed by unconscious, directionless physical laws. To be clear, I personally believe that consciousness might be more fundamental than current materialist science appreciates. But what fascinates me is that a view which makes no such assumption provides the most profound argument for survival I've ever encountered. Let's now explore that argument and its extraordinary implications. As mentioned, it originates with philosopher Thomas Clarke in his essay, Death, Nothingness and Subjectivity. Clarke begins by identifying a surprisingly common error made by many secular and scientific thinkers, the belief that death plunges the conscious individual into an eternal state of nothingness. He lists many secular thinkers who replace religious notions of heaven and hell with the idea of nothingness, as if death is a kind of positive state into which we are somehow thrown. But Clarke points out a critical error. He writes, "The mistake is to reify nothing to make it a positive condition or quality, for example of blackness, and then place the individual in it after death, so that we somehow fall into nothingness and remain there eternally." Clarke is far from the first to highlight this fallacy. Over 2 millennia ago, the Greek philosopher Epicurus wrote, "Death is nothing to us. When we exist, death is not, and when death exists, we are not." When we dispense with the flawed idea of death as some eternal black void, a strange and counterintuitive possibility emerges, a new conception of immortality, immortal consciousness. Before we explore Clarke's argument in full, we need to understand a fundamental truth about conscious beings, what Clarke calls personal subjective continuity. This refers to the fact that, as conscious beings, we experience our lives as one uninterrupted stream of experience. While there are times when we're unconscious during dreamless sleep or under anesthesia, those moments simply do not exist. For us, they're skipped, subjectively. This results in a continuity where subjectivity bridges all experiential gaps. We always exist to ourselves. Our experience is bracketed by birth and death, but just as we don't remember the eons before our birth, we shouldn't expect to fall into some eternal night after death. To understand why, let's explore a thought experiment inspired by Clarke's essay. Imagine a future where advanced medical technology allows for a remarkable process known as life pause. During life pause, a person's consciousness is temporarily halted so that advanced surgery akin to full mental and physical reworking scan take place. Memories, personality traits, and even physical appearance can be altered. Now meet our protagonist, Alex. Disillusioned with his life, he opts for an extended life pause, signing over full permission for any changes to his mind and body. Before the procedure, he is Alex Classic. Afterward, there are two possible outcomes. In the first scenario, Alex 2.0, the changes are moderate. He wakes up with a refined personality, some new preferences. For example, he now enjoys coffee where he once didn't. To Alex 2.0, the transformation feels like a seamless continuation of life. In the second scenario, Alex Reborn, the changes are dramatic. His personality, memories, even his appearance are entirely different. And yet, from Alex Reborn's perspective, there is still no break in subjective experience. It feels like he has always existed. Now for the final twist. Imagine that Alex never reaches the clinic. On his way there, he dies in a tragic accident. Later, somewhere in the universe, a completely new consciousness arises, let's call it. Alex Renewed. There's no causal connection to Alex Classic. And yet, from a subjective standpoint, there's no gap, no blackout. The sense of being continues. Just as the transformation between Alex Classic, Alex 2.0, and Alex Reborn didn't involve any subjective gaps, neither does the leap to Alex Renewed. Wherever conscious awareness appears, there you are. This is the core of Clarke's insight. Subjectivity doesn't go anywhere, it simply is wherever and whenever it arises. Every conscious being is you, because what you really are is not your memories or identity, but consciousness itself. Clarke writes, even if all awareness were extinguished and the next conscious creature appeared millions of years hence, in a distant galaxy, there would still be no subjective interregnum. Subjectivity would jump that objective gap just as easily as it jumps from our last moment before sleep to our first upon waking. In this light, death is not the end, nor is it an experience. It's simply a conceptual placeholder between different experiences of consciousness, and the implications are staggering. You are not just you. You are all conscious beings. You are everyone. This aligns with ideas like open individualism, proposed by philosopher Daniel Kolak. In this view, there is only one subject of experience. All conscious beings past, present, and future are fundamentally the same experiencer, not metaphorically but literally. Kolak asks, why are you the same person when you wake up in the morning, rather than waking up as a rabbit in a forest? Well, who says you didn't asterisk? The suggestion is that consciousness, like nuclear fusion in stars, is one universal process occurring in countless instances. We don't say there are billions of fusions, just one process, replicated across all stars. Likewise, there is one awareness expressed in infinite minds. This view is sobering. There is no escape. We are in this, together, for all time, as long as consciousness arises anywhere, and with that comes ethical responsibility. If our true identity is consciousness itself, then all suffering and all joy is ours. This demands the reduction of unnecessary suffering and the cultivation of worthwhile states joy, peace, bliss, wherever possible. It also challenges practices rooted in mistaken identity, speciesism, prejudice, retributive punishment. If there is only one experiencer, harming others is harming oneself. In the end, as Clarke writes, death is more like the radical refreshment of subjectivity than its extinction. We are that part of reality which becomes aware of its existence. For better or worse, we are truly immortal. We can talk about death, but we can never experience it, because consciousness never ends. Hey, it's me again. I really hope you found this topic as fascinating as I did. I'm genuinely curious to hear your thoughts. Do you think consciousness survives death? Do you agree with Clarke's argument? Let's talk in the comments. If you found value in this video, please hit like. It really helps the algorithm show it to others. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dive explorations of consciousness, existence, and the mysteries of reality. That's it from me for now. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time.